Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Welcome to your 8th class, speaking skills, and hopefully that you have done all the exercises I have given to you for the last weeks. And very soon we will start. You can actually log into your Blackboard and start the discussions with us. Today, in our 8th class, I have decided to have a review for Chapter 1 to the major points of Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 6 as well. So these chapters have had major points, and I want you to focus on these major points, okay? The other points are necessary, but this is kind of a review, a quick review for Chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. First of all, in our Chapter 1, we have talked about the sound of it and how to understand intonation, التنغيم, in tag questions, right? And we often, in a conversation with a sentence that includes a tag question, we add a tag to a sentence and it becomes a question. So in a conversation we often use sentences, right? So these sentences may consist of a tag question. We add a tag to a sentence and the sentence becomes a question. Our voices, well, I want you to understand that we have talked about this rule. Our voices goes up on the tag if we are not sure about the answers, okay? And it becomes a real question. So, will you do it quickly? Won't you? So here, this is actually a real question. You're waiting for an answer, right? And also, we said when our voices goes down on the tag, if we already know the answers and are making small talk, okay? So the purpose of this one, John and Mark aren't English, are they? So, as you can see, on the intonation of the tag question is falling down. So, once the intonation of a tag question goes down, this is unreal question. It's called unreal question. What is the purpose of the unreal question? Is there a goal to use it? Yes, that's to make a small talk. So we have talked about the intonations and tag questions on page, I guess, in the first chapter, in the first pages, in the first chapter. So hopefully now you have got the whole idea, you have understood how we use intonation in tag questions. So please focus on this topic and try to understand it by doing more exercises. Also, we have talked about common expressions in English conversation. So we actually put ourselves in different situations, and then we have used some expressions, some helpful expressions. These helpful expressions are helpful. They are called helpful because they help us to introduce someone. They help us in a conversation. They help us to express thanks, also to give an apology. As you can see in this chart, we have different situations, and I want you to understand every single situation and its responses. For example, if you want to introduce someone, for example, excuse me, I'd like you to meet my friend. Oh, this is Ammar, a friend of mine. have you met Ammar? So the response is the other person should say, nice to meet you, or glad to meet you, pleased to meet you. So you need to smile. So this is the best response and the common response in the American and British street. So you need to use these responses when someone introduces another person. If you want to end a conversation with the same person, you can use these expressions. Again, and we have talked about this. So I want you to memorize all these or most of these expressions, all of them, and understand them. Okay, so if you want to end a conversation, you can say, well, I got to run, or goodbye, see you later, maybe on Friday or whatever, have a good day. Usually they say have a good day, have a good weekend. Okay? And sometimes they say keep in touch, talk to you soon. It's been good seeing you. I gotta go now, but I'll see you or call you. So usually people used to say have a good day, have a good weekend. Okay? So this is how you can end some of the expressions that you can use to end a conversation. Also, we have some expressions how to make thanks, like thank you, how thoughtful, appreciated. The responses should be you're welcome, do not mention it. I am very also finally we have talked about how to give an apology. How to apologize. How to apologize. I'm very sorry, excuse me, or excuse me, forgive me, it was my fault. So the responses should be no problem, that's okay, that's all right, do not worry about it. So do not mix these responses with these. Okay, you need to be careful. So when you speak, when someone speaks to you using these expressions and want to express things, you need to use these responses. If someone apologizes, you need to use these responses. So do not mix between these responses. This is my point. So hopefully you also got the whole idea of how to use these common expressions in different conversation situations. And moving from that topic to another, we have also talked about how to give an advice. So as you can see, all of these actually are situations. All or most of what we have taken are situations. I put you in different situations, and each situation has a story. Sometimes you need to thank someone, a story of thanking. Sometimes a story of apology. And now a story of advice, how to give an advice. And as you can see here, should not, ought to, or always should be followed by a simple form of the verb to make or to give an advice. For example, if someone is sick, you should advise him, right? So you should say, you should go to the, you should go. Then have a simple form of the verb. You should go to doctor. Okay, you should go to doctor. You should go to doctor. هذه أيضا is a sentence, or this is a whole sentence. Is an advice sentence. It's an advice. Also, we have other expressions that we can use to make suggestions and advice. Okay? Also, we have talked about how to give a suggestions, how to make a suggestion. For example, it might be nice if you go to the doctor. So this is a way how to give suggestion. Why didn't you study hard? Why didn't you fix the car? Why don't you buy a house? So you are making suggestions. If I were you, I would buy a new one or new shoes. So you're making suggestions now. So please try to put yourself in such situations. Just put yourself and imagine someone else, or maybe talk to yourself and try to advise yourself. Try to make a conversation with yourself if you don't find a partner, if you don't have a linguist partner or a language partner. Although you can use Facebook to start these small conversations with the students in different universities. So once you use your Facebook, just go try to add some people from different cultures, maybe from American universities or whatever, or maybe between yourselves, among yourselves, you can make a short conversation. Okay? So this is what we have had for the giving advice and how to make a suggestion. We have also talked in one of the chapters about reductions. How to use reductions. Reductions help you to compress the words together to make the language fast. So when you reduce the words, when you reduce the pronunciation of some words, you are actually speaking like natives. So whenever you reduce words together, some words or some phrases together, you are actually speaking like natives. And here we have discussed different kinds of reductions through this semester. We have also differentiate between the long form and the short form. As you can see in the first sentence, she made a lot of friends. If we make a reduction, you should say, she made a lot of friends. She made a lotta. He had lots of a problem. He had lots of problem. He had lots of problem. He wasn't able to relax. He wasn't able to relax. To relax. Could you help me with this? Could you help me with this? Could you help me with this? I will see you later. I'll see you later. You? Yeah. Do you know her? Do you know her? Do you know her? Do you know him? Do you know him? Do you know him? Do you know him? Okay. I was hurt and angry. I was hurt and angry. Without saying and. I was hurt and angry. That's incorrect. You should say I was hurt and angry. I was hurt and angry. Okay? So hopefully this one is clear now. So try to say out these reductions. Try to do some of the practice and try to do it again and again. Okay? The more you're doing crisis, the more exercises. The more you're doing exercises, the more the informations will get stuck to your mind. So try your best, please. Also, we had actually kind of an advice in a normal or fast speech. You will hear reductions of some words. Okay, this is what we have said. For instance, 1, 2 sounds wanna. So learning to understand reductions will help you become a better listener and a better speaker. That's why I used to give you exercises, many exercises about reductions. That's why I have focused on the reduction lessons. Also here, you can hear the difference of these long forms and short form and the CD1. You can go to track 12 and 13 on your textbooks, but that's fine. I'm going to also to speak them out now. However, you need to remember that all of these reductions are only used in spoken English. You can't use them in writing. It's incorrect. Okay, let us start with the first one. Do you have any pets? Do you have any pets? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Does this bus go to Gary Street? Does this bus go to Gary Street? gotta لحظة ما حكيت go to gotta هيك في الإنجليزي بتنحكى لكن تكتب go to لكن تحكى gotta. Do you want to see the kitchen? Do you want to see the kitchen? Do you want it? Do you want to see the kitchen? لأن يو بالصيرية حكينا. do you want to see the kitchen? اوكي يعني هذه ليست بمعزل، لابد انها تكون بهذا الشكل عندما تحكى. You have to have exact change. You have to لاحظوا you have to have exact change. مش you have to. لاحظوا with the long form you consume time to speak the whole sentence. With reductions, you're saving time. لاحظوا with the long form you say you have to have exact change. You have to have exact change. You have to have exact change. It takes 5 minutes. You have to have exact change. It takes shorter time. You have to have exact change. Takes actually shorter time. So please, I will list all of these reductions now and try to speak them out, okay? This review will help you to focus on the major points that we have taken during the semester, okay? Also, we have learned the language that we can use to ask for clarification. Clarification is the noun of clarify. Clarify, to make something clear. So, if you don't understand someone or some points, or maybe if you don't understand me, it's important to ask for clarification, whether by email or Blackboard, or just to meet me or call me on the course mobile, right? Here are some questions that you can use to ask me for clarification. If you don't, for example, understand reduction. So what should you say? You should say, excuse me, could you repeat that again? How was that again? How was reduction again? Could you repeat what we have said about reductions? How do you spell the reduction? So all of these questions are common questions that you need to use when you ask for clarification. So please also have a look at this part of the lessons we have taken. Okay. Also, we expand our sound of it to understand intonation. Any questions with or? وإحنا أخذنا before that we discussed the intonation in tag questions, right? We said there are two kinds of questions with a word or yes/no questions, and either or question. In yes/no question, the answer is yes or no. The speaker's voice goes up 2 times. لاحظوا الآن. 2 times. Would you like coffee or tea? The answer, yes please. لكن no, sorry. Would you like coffee or tea? Would you like coffee or tea? Would you like coffee or tea? لاحظوا صوت الكوفي والتي جاء متساوي. Would you like coffee or tea? Yes, I please. لكن in either or question, the answer is one of the 2 items from the question. The speaker's voices goes up on the first item and down on the second item. لاحظوا. Would you like coffee or tea? Would you like coffee or tea? Tea, please. So you need to pay attention to the difference between intonation and yes/no question and either or question. With yes/no question شو حكينا? would you like coffee or tea? would you like coffee or tea؟ تصاعد الصوت. لكن إذا كان سؤال تخير either or, would you like coffee or tea? We have different intonations. So please understand these rules because they are important for you to use them in your speaking skills. In one of the chapters also we have talked about how to give or to express an encouragement. For example, if you listen to someone or to a storyteller and he or she retells a story for you, an exciting one, what should be your response? Wow, that's wonderful. Or maybe if you're listening to a horrible story, gosh, is that really? لاحظوا الآن كيف الاختلاف. This is what we call also interjection. Interjection, and this is one part of parts of a speech. هذا ما نسميه interjections. يعني مثلا استمعت ل قصة جميلة مثلا أعجبتك، نقول wow, that's wonderful. لكن قصة مخيفة, gosh, is that really true? So if you look at my facial expressions, الملامح الوجه تتغير, and also the intonation of the voice is changed, وأيضا درجة الصوت تتغير. فهذه الشكل مع الصوت بتغير حسب الموقف. هذا ما نسميه interjection. Okay, and this is one of the part of the speech, interjections. Cool. So please pay attention to the language that you can use. These languages give you, actually add to your personnel, different common expressions that you can use in your daily English, in life, in the real life. Also, one of the skills that we have learned is how to talk about your future plans. For example, all of you maybe are third or fourth year student, or maybe second year students, and someone asks you, what are you going to do after graduation? شو بدك تعمل بعد التخرج? You need to use either be going to verb, like I am going to go to college, I'm going to teach at school, or you can use the verb will to talk about the future. I will go to the governmental sector. I will work in the governmental sector. لكن what is the difference between going to or will? Going to, you're sure about what you are going to do. لكن will, you are unsure. Okay? So we use going to when you have already decided what you are going to do. لكن with will, you have not decided yet. So this is the only difference between the two. Also, we have taken more expressions and reductions. Let me read, just look at the chart and let me just read it so quickly. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What are you doing? What you doing? What are you? صارت what. What are you doing? What you doing? What kind of childhood was it? What kind of childhood was it? Kinda. What did you do? What did you do? What did he do? What did he do? What did he do? They used to live here. They used to live here. I'm going to buy a house. I'm gonna buy a house. So hopefully you can now hear the difference between long forms and short forms, and in the middle right here it explains to you what's happening in the reduction process. Also, one of the skills that we have learned during this semester is how to order food in a restaurant. For example, you and your colleague or maybe your friend went to a restaurant, maybe McDonald's, Burger King or whatever, and you want to order a meal, right? So what we usually ask them is the menu or the order. Okay, so these are some of the expressions or phrases that we can use when ordering food in a restaurant. For example, a waiter may ask you, "May I take your order? What do you recommend? What would you like? What's the special today? Would you like with that? How much is that?" This is for the price. When you say "how much is that," you're talking about prices. How is everything here? What's the soup of the day? So all of these actually are the main phrases, the language of restaurants, the language that you can use in a restaurant. Also, here we have talked later on about how to give an advice. So this is kind of a repetition to our first lesson about how to give an advice using you should, you ought to, you had better, I advise you, I recommend that you. Okay, so all of these are some phrases that you can use to give an advice. And here we have talked about three words with can or cannot. We said that after can, you can stress the object, the verb, after can, you can stress the verb and the object, saying that I can ride a bike. I can ride a bike. لكن with can't مع النفي you need to put stress. Can't ride a bike. I can't ride a bike. I can't ride a bike. لاحظوا الستريس على can't ride a bike. نفس الشيء. He can ride a horse. He can't ride a horse. He can't ride a horse. So this is also one of the important lessons that we have taken about the sound of it and how to stress can, the verb, and its object. Also, we have also repeated some of these examples. We have talked about how to introduce someone, and here is kind of the responses that we can use. How to end a conversation. Well, I got to run, for example. Goodbye, see you later, Friday, have a good day, have a good weekend. And here is also how to express thanks. We have talked about this in the beginning, but this is kind of a repetition to what you have taken, okay? And this is also when you express thanks, thank you very much. That was kind of very kind of you. How thoughtful. Your response should be, you're welcome. Do not mention it. Also, we have taken an exercise about how to give an apology. An apology like, I am very sorry, excuse me, forgive me, it was my fault. And also, in here, you can give a response to such examples like, no problem, no problem. That's okay. That's all right. Do not worry about it. In the reductions forms also, we have talked about the reductions forms a lot in the first chapter, in the second, in the third, and in the fourth chapter. And here we have kind of an example to all what we have said about reductions. For example, do you have any pets? What is the reduction or the short form of this first sentence? Do you have any pets? You, it should become like yeah. And the sentence should be, do you have any pets? Also, we said, what's your name? What's you? It should be, whatcha? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Repeat after me, okay? What's your name? And here, where is the reduction? Go to. It should be gotta. Gotta. Does this bus gotta Geary Street? Do you want to see the kitchen? 1 2 تصبح wanna. Do you wanna? Do you wanna see the kitchen? Some students, they make some mistakes when they use wanna or gonna. They say, do you want us to see the kitchen? That's incorrect. Then wanna is originally 1 2 if you want to return it to the long form. So there is no need to use another 2. So, do you want to see the kitchen? Do you want to see the kitchen? You have to have exact change. This is the long form. حكينا إنه have to لابد إنه we reduce it to become have to. Have to. You have to have, and it becomes like this. You have to have exact change. You have to have exact change. Also, we have here some long forms, and one of the questions right here, it asks you to give the short form of each one. We have explained all of these stuff in maybe two times. So I want you now to help me to do this by yourself. I will do some of them, like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you? What do you do? What do you do? What you doing? 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 Okay? What kind of childhood was it? مش was it? Was it? What kind of childhood was it? Did you? What did you do? What did he do? What did he do? Used to? They used to. They used to live here. They used to live here. I'm going to buy a house. I'm gonna buy a house. I'm gonna buy a house. Okay, and here we have also talked about giving advice. Please try to remember all of these. It's actually, I want to add here, it's more important and more polite to use expressions for making suggestions than to use an imperative notice. Here I have repeated this to focus on this. So I need you now in this slide, although it's repeated, to focus on the suggestions. And here in the second slide, it gives you an advice. Do you remember this advice? It's more polite to use expressions for making suggestions than to use an imperative اللي هو الأمر. فلا بد إنك تستخدم the tone of suggestion, نبرة الاقتراح أكثر من نبرة الأمر. So notice, and here it gives us an example. Get out and take an art class. This is less polite. Like, if you want to make it a suggestion, you should get out and take an advice and take an art class. So here's is more polite. It is more polite. Also, we have talked about the models. Please just go back to the models and try to study them again. Also, we have used had better. We have talked about how to use had better to warn someone. You had better study tonight or you might fail the test. So you are warning him. تحذير. You had better go home now or he will be in trouble. So had better give an a warning that something bad will happen if the advice is not taken, if the advice is not followed. Also, we have talked about how to use should to offer advice. And this is actually, should here, it gives us more clarification in this slide. Here it means it would be good idea if you do something. Lakin, I am not warning you. I'm giving you an advice. I'm saying that it would be a good idea if you do something. You should eat something when you are hungry. So this is an advice. You should read a book and turn off the television. You should stop being so loud. You should have a party at the beach. So all of these are sentences offering some advices. Also, we have talked about how to use could or might, and we said that they are more gentle than should. They are more gentle than should. So, as you can see here, after could, might, like should, could and might are followed by simple form of verb. Simple form of verb. Okay? And finally, in the last 6 classes, we have talked about some of the also new reductions that we need to pay attention to when we speak English, and I want you to understand and memorize all of these reductions. With a long form, we say, like right here, she made a lot of her friends. Like in spoken English, she made a lot of friends. Lot of friends. 2, he had lots of a problem. He had lots of a problem. A short form, he had lots of problem. Lots of problem. He wasn't able to relax. He wasn't able to relax. Could you help me with this? هذا long form. Could you help me with this? I will see you later. هي كيف اللفظ؟ I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Do you know her? Do you know her? كيف لازم تكون؟ Do you know her? Do you know her? Do you know her? Do you know him? كيف لازم تكون؟ Do you know him? Do you know him? I was hurt and angry. I was hurt and angry. لاحظوا في long form I was hurt and angry. هذا في long form. في written language. لكن in spoken language you should say I was hurt and angry. And angry. بدون ما نحكي and. So finally, as we have talked and we have explained in details and we have repeated and reviewed the most and the major points of chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, hopefully that I have clarified most of the big questions. So please do focus on them, try to understand the reductions, try to understand the situations and their responses. They are very important. The final exam questions, the final test questions are going to be similar to what we have taken. So you need to understand the situation and its responses. You need to understand the reductions, its long form, the reduction process, and the short form. You need also to understand the intonation of a tag question, yes, no question, either or questions. If you have any question or any comment, just please try to contact me at my email aalami@kfu.edu.sa. Some of you say we don't have time to contact you. You can actually you can contact me anytime, day or night, via email. Just I will try to respond as much as I can, because there are a lot of emails I need to check every day. So please be patient until I respond back to you. I will promise I will respond as soon as possible. Also, we will start our Blackboard discussions, and you should actually make some thoughtful comments, and hopefully that you have enjoyed the class today or the review today. Thank you so much. Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.